Well, it was all about the Bayern Express, the two Germans, Wendel and Arlt, winning the Tobogganian event, the two-man luge, and they beat another German pair. And what was remarkable about this performance, Chris Taylor, is that these men were doing it for what? A third straight Olympics in this event. Truly remarkable. The Bayern Express, unstoppable once again.
Yeah, unstoppable, and an event that the Germans have dominated right throughout the years. These pairs have been dominating the event since 2013. They have won everything to do with doubles. They have done it in mixed team as well. So they have been right on top. It's funny that their countrymen have dominated them in the World Cup, but yet can't seem to dominate them in the Olympics. The Tobias twins really getting things done. Both 34 years of age. One a police officer in the federal force, and the other a sergeant in the army. So discipline, focus, something that is an asset to them, something that is a focal point. And we see it here again.
And then Roberts, one policeman, one soldier, 2 gold medals for the same country.
Well, I would like to know who is the one in the back, because I would not want that position, because you can't see what
police officer.
video going on there. I don't know what you are just in dreamland, and you have to have a lot of confidence in your lead guy that he would not crash, because you're peeping through around a helmet while trying to stay aerodynamic. This was amazing. And two-man luge. Not sure it mightn't be a hit in Jamaica, but it is fantastic to see the Germans coming back. Twins, obviously they were in sync. You know, they talk about twins that you normally know what the next one is going to do, and maybe that helps them, because you've got to adjust your weight when you're steering that toboggan, as you say, and Tobogganians will not want to do this at that speed without any protection. We drive very safely in Tobago, but they have to move and adjust their weight together. If one moves left and one moves right, you will slow down and create friction. So congratulations, a great gold medal, and these Olympics are quite exciting, George.
Yeah, absolutely so. And spare a thought, as Chris said, for the German pair who finished second, Eggert and Benneken. They had dominated the event in the lead up to the Pyeongchang Games, and they failed to repeat it at the form at the Olympics and had to settle for a minor medal. And this year, in the lead up to these Olympics again, they were again the dominant duo, but they found the Tobias twins too hot to handle when the time mattered most. That's our show for this evening. I want to say thanks to Chris Taylor for cameo appearance once again. Yeah, it was a cameo appearance. We had Audrey Segree earlier talking about the bobsled teams from Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. And of course, we had the opposition senator over there in Trinidad and Tobago, Anil Roberts, a man who people, you should follow Anil on social media. He has many, many interesting things to say. He's a top guy. Anil, thank you very much. We'll talk again tomorrow. All right, Chris? Cheers. That's it. You, of course, can stay tuned to Mariah and Gerard, who have Winter Prime, the morning edition, on Thursday.
Games as reigning world champion of the snowboard cross. The format of snowboard cross is simple. Navigate the course as quickly as possible. It's a race to the finish line with no points on offer for style. That bit's important. No points for style. At just 20 years old, Jacobellis was clear favourite for the gold medal, and her route to the final was comfortable. When the big day came around, it seemed like business as usual. Jacobellis quickly raced out to a huge lead.
Attention! Come on, man! And they're off at the start. Jacobellis closest to the camera in the white pinstripes. And she's looking for an inside line, and she's got it. And she's going to come out of this turn in the lead. And whoops, there's a faller. And that looked like the Canadian Ricker, who's down. And a little bit of problem there for Maltese, the other Canadian. Jacobellis with a comfortable lead right now. Maltese and Frieden, and Maltese is gone! She's off the course!
Going into the penultimate jump, she was ahead of Switzerland's Tanja Frieden by a huge margin. If she stayed on her board, the gold medal was hers. What happened next became one of the most infamous moments in the history of the Olympic Winter Games.
So just 2 jumps to go, and Jacobellis is down! Jacobellis has fallen! Looked like a moment of indecision there, and Tanja Frieden from Switzerland has passed her and is going to get the gold medal. What a heartbreak for Jacobellis. What was she thinking in the air with just 2 jumps to go?
As she'd gone over the penultimate jump, Jacobellis had attempted a method grab, a simple move where the rider grabs the heel side of the board during a rotation. Easy enough, but this was a strange time to try it. Why even attempt it? It was, in her own words, to improve her stability.
Yeah, the narrator a bit kind on that descriptor of this as one of the greatest foul-ups in the history of Winter Games. He only reduced it to that. It is and has for a long time been regarded as one of the greatest slip-ups in the history of competitive sport. Nobody in Turin on this day could believe that this woman, Lindsay Jacobellis, could have done such a thing. The gold medal at her mercy. She did this, lost the gold medal, and for 16 years she walked around in the wilderness, seemingly incapable of winning gold, while the other prizes that she competed for were at her mercy. She won everything in that time, between that time and now, but an Olympic gold medal proved elusive. It proved elusive in Vancouver in 2010, in Sochi in 2014, Pyeongchang 2018. 2 of those times she was a losing semi-finalist, didn't make the final. She made the final last year, only good enough for 4th, and we all thought that her Olympic career would be defined by that harebrained moment in 2006. But Chris Taylor, sport and life is about redemption, and Redemption's song is now the soundtrack to this woman's life and career because she has redeemed herself.
Resilience. Good to see her sticking with it. Another athlete who would have, got that gold medal at 36 years of age, so another post-30 athlete. But as they say, show off brings disgrace. Youthful exuberance at 20 to try something like that, a gold medal at your mercy, as they would say, and then try a trick. But great for her to show that 16 years she stuck with it, had the wherewithal to pull it off in the end. As I said, 5th place, 7th place, and 4th place in the World Cups in between. And, 6 World Championships in between that as well, but just couldn't get it done at the Olympics. Gets another chance and finally makes it count. Experience.
Right, and how did she make it count? Well, this is what happened in Beijing a few hours earlier.
And we are racing. The gold, the silver, the bronze to be determined here to the Wu-Tang.
And it looks like red and green the top, Lindsay Jacobellis, but Chloe Trespouche is right there. Who is in the lead? It is too close to tell. Lindsay Jacobellis eking out in front of the rest of the field.
Lindsay Jacobellis in the lead right now. Chloe Trespouche in the number 2 spot. USA 1, France number 2.
But as we've seen, anything can happen. Lindsay Jacobellis really needs to hold onto that line, but Chloe is itching to get in that front position.
Here comes Trespouche, trying to see if she can get close to Jacobellis. Jacobellis has never got the gold, the 5-time Olympian in search of the gold here today.
Jacobellis has a handy lead right now with Chloe Trespuche solidly in second, followed by Odine from Canada and Brockhoff bringing up the rear in this big final.
Lindsay Jacobellis in the lead for the gold. Trespuche sitting in the silver position. Marietta Odine sitting in the bronze. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. On the toe wedge. Jacobellis through the heel edge now. Pumping her way through. Could this be the goal that she's been looking for? Lindsay Jacobellis. She's down off the jump. Lindsay Jacobellis will claim the gold medal. Chloe Trespuche will grab the silver. Marietta Odine from Canada will grab the bronze redemption.
Yeah, in Jamaica they have a saying, one not dead, no dash it away. Translated into standard English, if it is not dead, don't throw it away, don't discard it. Lindsay Jacobellis, her career as an Olympian, not dead, despite 16 years of being comatose. The corpse moved today, it twitched, and then it got up. And the cadaver walked. Lindsay Jacobellis rewriting history. The greatest woman in the history of snowcross lands gold. And the medal which seemed destined for her when she was young and whippersnapping has now truly become hers when she's a veteran at age 36. I go across the Caribbean Sea to a veteran, Anil Roberts, for a perspective on what has happened here. Anil, you like myself love athletes with showmanship. We love razzmatazz. But when you do it at the expense of focusing on the fundamentals to complete victory and then toast it with any histrionics you want to, you look rather silly. She looked rather silly in 2006. She looked rather clever a few hours ago.
Well, I don't know about razzmatazz. Let me tell you, if you like razzmatazz, you have to do it like Usain Bolt 2008 at 72 meters, turn sideways and look back but win. If you look back and you lose, I don't know. What I would love to know is if she has the same coach from 2006. Because I would have loved to be a spider or fly on the wall when they got back into their private room at the Olympic Village. What he would have had to told her. I mean, it was a clear gold medal. We had seen Gail Divas not showboating, but losing focus, glancing through the periphery, and falling down in the 100-meter hurdle for women and losing a gold medal. We know about Balotelli in a practice game in the USA when he tried to do a back heel and was taken off by Mancini. But I have never seen anything like this. I don't know what I would have done as a coach. You have a gold medal sitting in your hands. You just have to eat the baby food. And you try to do a razzmatazz and you lose. I'm surprised that she's still competing. That's off the hook. That is some mental fortitude.
Yeah. Speaking of mental fortitude, she's gone through changes of coaches, Anil, and crucially, the USA team got her a psychologist, a behaviorist, to help her to deal with the mental impact of missing out in 2006, and that helped her to be in a position to deliver that gold medal performance a few hours earlier in Beijing. We take a break. It's Winter Prime, the evening edition, back with much more talking about the big performances from Day 5 as we build up to the appearance on ice of three from Jamaica, the lone woman Jasmine Feneta Victorian, and the two men, Sherwin Stevens and Nimroy Turgot, and the two A's for Trinidad and Tobago, Brown and Marcano, Axel and Andre in their two-man bob event. Yeah, redemption and the assertion of dominance. The two dominant themes on day 5 of the Winter Olympics in Beijing, China. You are watching now is the preview show ahead of the 6th day of competition at the 2022 Winter Olympic Games. But yeah, those dominant themes are strong because of individual performances. On the show today, we're going to spend a lot of time looking back at the big performers from day 5. But we are going to spend most of the time, well, more of the time, the producers are a bit stingy, Donald Oliver is, talking about the Jamaicans and the Trinidadians set to take the ice later in their training runs. The bobsledders getting into gear for their turn at bat. My name is George Davis. I'm working alongside Audra Segree for the opening segment. And of course, Anil Roberts is on Zoom, linking with us across the Caribbean Sea via those fiber optic cables which did not get damaged by the recent tremor in southeast, in the southern Pacific. And Chris Taylor is going to be joining us later on in the show to do the review of those big performances. So the stage is set. Let me introduce Audra. Audra, welcome back here.
Hi,
I must tell you that you won't hear men saying this to you often because you know that you are a talented young woman before anything else, and that you are also a beautiful young woman.
Thank you.
And I'm disappointed to be seeing you again because I wanted to not see you again. I wanted to be talking about you performing in Beijing.
Same. Got back the verdict and they dismissed our case. But even though I'm not happy with the results, I'm happy that we fight to the end. And yeah, we lost, but I think we're at peace knowing that we fight in every way that we could. And yeah, and we're okay. We're dealing with it.
Yeah. All right. So you're good. A friend in competition, Jasmine Fenner Victorian, is set to take to the training runs in the monobob. For those of us who are uninitiated, and the closest we'll get to it is in front of a TV screen, what goes into training at this stage ahead of competition?
It's definitely, I think everything is already done. It's just for them to put themselves out there, hold their composure, be focused, be consistent. Even though they might test materials like runners and stuff during these training runs, but honestly, I don't think, like, training wise, physically, they can do much more. But driving wise, I'm expecting for them to be clean. This is the time that they're going to clean up their problem areas and just go into the competition comfortably.
Yeah, but all right, excellent. So insofar as the technical planning is concerned, so Jasmine sits with those who she takes technical advice from.
Yes.
What will that technical advice entail, you think?
Definitely equipment. She's a good driver. You can't take that from her, and she's experienced. So it will come down to equipment. Equipment will be the key to, because believe it or not, some runners run faster on different temperature.
Yes. Oh.
So it's very tricky because today it might be -1, and then you say, okay, these runners run well, and tomorrow hot.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh, panic mode. And you choose the runner that you run a -1 on. You understand? So it's like trick to it.
Psychologically, is it different preparing for the monobob as Jasmine is now, as opposed to a two-man situation, a two-person situation, or a four-person situation?
Yes, it is, because the monobob is one person. It's lighter. It won't take the lines of a two-man or two-person. It won't. So this is the challenge for the two-person driver that is experienced in two-person. So they automatically want to go on a two-person line. Yeah. The sled is not gonna go there. Yeah. So they get frustrated. They're like, oh, what to do? Then mistakes going to happen down the track, and that's their frustration. Yeah. Get in the lines.
I know that in many forms of racing, Audra, even in horse racing, jockeys will walk the course with the trainer. If they have a big race coming up and a big horse running in the big race, they'll walk the course to see which are the best places to drive, to ride rather.
Yeah.
I say that to ask you, have you heard anything about how the course is likely to handle, and what kind of adjustments can be made for those changes? You did speak to some of it just now, but just go there again for me.
Yes, so I had a convo with Jazz just to hear like where she's at her mind space. And I was like, how's the track? And she was like, it's technical driving wise, it's slow at the top. The least little mistake can kill your speed. And it have 2 uphills or 3, I think. So if a track have uphills, you cannot make a lot of mistakes because you need the speed or the momentum to bring you on those uphills. Yeah. So yes, it's technical for her. The corners are long, she said. 360 curve is a Kreisel. They call it a Kreisel. You know, not a lot of double pressure. She won't feel that in the monobob because, as I said, the monobob is lighter than a 2-person. Yes. So she won't feel that double pressure. So maybe in a 2-man, but yeah. So
this is the course that we're being shown a head-on shot of the course, a rider going through the paces. Tell me though, based on what you know, is it a case where Jasmine would have driven a course like this enough times to be comfortable?
I think this course is a mix of Lake Placid and I will say Park City. She's been on both tracks. She's comfortable on both tracks. Reason being, Lake Placid have a straight, and it's not a finished straight. Yes. Park City also have a straight in the track. The top is quiet. It's very technical. Yeah. So, and the top is what matters. Yes. Because you build speed at the bottom. Yes. So I think I watched the track, and based on what I saw, I think it's a comparison of Lake Placid and
the combination of both of those.
Put together.
And you're confident she can handle it?
I believe she can handle it, yes.
And then, Roberts, let me come to you. We've gotten the technical breakdown from the athlete, the woman who's been doing these things for such a long time, and a technicality and a failure by cast to rule in the favor of the Jamaicans is causing her to be here with us rather than competing in Beijing. But your 2 lads, Axel and Marcano and what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is this. Your 2 ambassadors. Hold on. I wanted to do a different way, which is why I hesitated. Your 2 ambassadors, that Trini flag, which has not been seen at the Winter Olympics for some time. And those 2 men, we saw them in the flag ceremony, but that was only someone setting the table. Now they're preparing to dine. They're preparing to tuck in. Based on what you know of the conditions that are facing them and the kind of shape they are in, what are you expecting for these 2 twin ambassadors of the beautiful nation of Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, they are twin ambassadors, and they're flying the flag proudly. Now, as you were just discussing, this sport, this bobsleigh, whether it's mono, 2-man, 2-woman, it's a very difficult sport because you have to stay physically fit. You have to monitor your weight when you get there, where you cannot exercise as much as you want. You want your body to taper, to run fast, to be fast, but you have to be lean and at your correct racing weight. Then, more importantly, you have to understand your equipment. What are your runners going to do? How are you going to manage the upper end of the course? And then when you pick up speed, it's like cycling. You know, the equipment is so important. Back in 1984, Gene Samuel was the best physical specimen on a bike, but he finished 4th because his bike, his machinery was about 2.5 pounds heavier than the other cyclist bike. And so the equipment in this sort of races, the mechanics, the people who understand the track, the experience, the understanding of climatic condition is tremendous. Trinidad and Tobago, we are proud just to be represented. These guys have come together. They're passionate. Marcano is very fast. He's a track athlete. Fastest time in 100 of 10:34. And Axel Brown is really British, and he used to do bobsleigh and drive for Britain. So he is experienced. His driving, especially at the technical part, the upper course, where you have no speed, and if you take a wrong line, or you don't cut the corners as you want to, you will not generate the type of speed later on to post a good time. So we don't want or look for any medal. We look first and foremost for the flag starting well and finishing cleanly. We want a flawless run, and then we take it from there to see how high up we can finish.
Yeah, so I realize that I'm surrounded by, well, I'm talking about two A's, Axel Andre, and I have Audra, and I have Anil, yeah, and then Chris is a C, so there's a B missing, but we won't talk about the B. Anil, what I want to ask you is this. Is there a buzz you can detect, or let's not put it as strong as buzz, that's where the B comes in. Is there anticipation of, within the Trinidadian populace, of seeing these two men, seeing the colors represented at an event that Trinidad and Tobago has not been competing at for the past few cycles? Has there been on the talk shows discussion about these two men? Have the newspapers been carrying articles about them, looking into their background, talking about the links between them and the Trinidad and Tobago, for especially in the case of Marcano, who hasn't been in Trinidad and Tobago and has the roots that Axel Brown has? Has there been that kind of groundswell of interest around the two men and what they're about to embark on?
No. There is really, we are a difficult type of people. We like success. We get excited when we have that taste of success. Even in our beloved football, if we are playing poorly at the early stages of a World Cup qualifying, you will see probably 500 or 600 people in the stadium. But once we get the taste and we beat Jamaica and we move on to challenge USA and Canada and El Salvador and Panama, you will see 20,000, 25,000 people. But the newspapers have done quite well. They've given us a history of the athletes, Axel Brown, Michael Thomas, and of course Marcano, who's going to be running. But there is no buzz, but we always look for a good performance. If they get some good runs tomorrow, the buzz will build. We in Trinidad and Tobago, we have been spoiled with success across the board in different spheres. So we wait to see. We really and truly want them to perform well, but in general, a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge, a lack of interest is espoused in our population because we just don't understand what they're doing really and truly.
Yeah. You know, Audra, I've watched programs like this in the past and seen, for instance, yourself, an athlete, an Olympic level athlete, on a show talking about a missed opportunity to compete, and the host asks you about the men in detail and barely uses any time to talk about you and the other women there who are competing. And I consciously made the decision that I'd leave the Jamaican men for last. I have to ask you about Affinity Victoria and how she's trending, and of course to take your experience, to give me that experiential view of what she's going to do, what she's preparing to do, and how she can do it. So I say all of that to come to the men now. Charwayne and Nimroy. We've seen the video of pushing the Mini Cooper around Peterborough, training, making do with what they have. Their event is something you know like the back of your hand. It's a two-man run instead of the monobob that Jasmine is competing in. For them, what are the keys to a clean performance from them? I'm borrowing from Anil now. We want a clean performance from all our competitors. What are the keys to a clean performance from these two Jamaican men?
It's definitely execution. How efficient they come off the turn, because if you come off a turn and you tap into the wall, that's gonna kill your speed. And then they definitely need a fast push. You have to get ahead from the get-go. So I think those two and being consistent, they will have clean runs.
Another question from the uninitiated as we go to the break, Audra. The push, is it just about raw power or is it more subtle than that?
It's both power and speed, because you have to use power to get the sled out and then speed to build that momentum and the velocity, as we would say in bobsled, to get in and get it going, and then the driver will do his part.
And what we're sure of is that the Caribbean athletes, the Jamaicans and the Trinis, would have an advantage where pushing is concerned, because we've won, Jamaicans especially, a lot of push gold medals in various events over the years. So let's hope that the push aspect of the performance is right, and then the rest, the technical excellence that is needed thereafter, can follow. We're going to have special coverage. We're going to have special coverage of the appearance of the Jamaicans on ice, Jasmine Finletta Victorian in the monobob, and Sherwin Stevens and Nimroy Turgot in the two-man sled. And of course, the Trinis, Axel and Andre, Marcano and Brown, will be going in the two-man monobob as well, and we'll be having special coverage of their runs as they touch the ice. We take a break here on Winter Prime, the evening edition. Back with much more after these.